Okay, so this would be essentially a room inside the map, just like a room, and you can see how we have basically just a constrained camera, up, down, all the way that way, all the way this way. WASD just affects this camera movement as well as right click. And then for the animations, besides UI elements like this, oh yeah, but for that, this we can probably just do with Cinemachine since it's just first person follow the player object. And we just follow the player the same direction, looking, first person camera type of thing. Should be pretty simple. But then the animations that I was talking about that might be able to be done in Blender, in Unity, I meant. This would be the scene transition, and then upon scene transition and loading this screen in, there's all of these different little animations for each of these sprites in the room, for each of the assets. Just going to show that again. And so each asset in each room has some form of animation like that. That should be pretty simple, but there's a lot of them, so animating all of them is going to be tedious. Just thinking about implementation for this room, we could have like a delay for the floor tiles, but I would rather talk to someone who is dedicated to doing animation about that before making decisions like that. But obviously we also have all of the UI elements that need some basic animation. I would talk to Aaron about this radio. And then there's also going to be gated progression. So this right now just acts as a wall, something the player cannot go past. We could, and then we'd have some form of getter and setter to say open this, some form of internal flag to say open this, and this sprite would no longer render. There are other sprites. Sometimes there doesn't need to be a sprite there or an asset. In the case of that, this door at the beginning of the game is locked, so if you try to interact with it, it'll play a sound and say no, it's locked. This would be a scene transition, so this would be a dedicated scene, I think. I am not sure how to string scenes together, but I am thinking that each room would be its own scene. And there would basically be two types of rooms which influence the camera movement. And that would be the normal motion, the free roam, which is hallways you can freely control and look almost any which way you want. But then once you go into a dedicated room, let's say this AV room, we have the animations that play on each asset that gets loaded in, and then the camera becomes constrained and to a very specific set of allowed values. Is there anything else I wanted to mention? Yes, there is something I wanted to mention. And it would have to do with the dialogue. So scene transition. And another scene transition. Now if I go talk to, say, this character, you can see that I don't know if there was a little animation there. I'm going to have to go check the recording for that. But you can see that that the dialogue system will have to decide which sprite to render when. So there's a little camera movement there. But yes, that is what I was thinking for like these small little animations, because each room has that. And it's different for each room. And we are going to have to make that. And whether we can do it in Unity or should do it in Blender, I'm not sure. We'll leave that for an animator to decide, whoever that role may be thrust upon.